Hi, my name is Bobby Alvarez. I'm a senior marketing and management major from Orlando, Florida. And I just want to talk about the current trends and how traditional sports are utilizing esports. So, one of the first major ways sports are utilizing esports is through their athletes. So, for my research, one of the main things I saw was famous athletes using their image to stream gaming. And so, a prime example of this would be NFL athlete Juju Smith Schuster, who is also the founder of an esports organization called Diverge, and also signed a deal with HyperX. And so Juju wouldn't have been able to do this without his position in the NFL. He is known all over social media. He's very popular, and because of this, was able to start an esports team, have a big following, and was able to have it be successful. So another great example of an athlete using their image to stream gaming and better off themselves is Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers. And so recently, Eckler signed a deal with SteelSeries, which is a gaming technology company, and was able to get sponsorships and is actually the first brand NFL ambassador for the team. And so this is a huge opportunity for them. It's a big step for esports, having NFL players represent them. Many fans watch the NFL, and so I just thought it was really cool seeing him, be able to get this opportunity. So the second major category I'd like to talk about is how esports teams are being utilized for sponsorships on NFL games. So a prime example of this was in 2015 when a Swedish-based esports organization called Supercell actually had an ad in the Super Bowl of their game Clash of Clans. And so Clash of Clans is usually played by a lot younger people, and actually being a consumer of this game, I noticed a lot of older people began playing this game in the late 16s and 17s, probably because of these ads and because of the wide outreach, and that many people, families and athletes, enjoy this. And it's just interesting seeing how this wide outreach is changing how people feel about esports so much. So the third major area of esports innovation I'd like to talk about is their investment opportunities. And so many sports teams have actually began investing in esports because of the payouts. And so a great example of this would be the Spurs and Tribe Gaming were talking to each other about investing in mobile esports. And two of the games they were debating on investing in were Overwatch League and the 2K franchise. And so, I mean, it's no secret esports is absolutely blown up, and even since the pandemic, it's gotten even bigger because more people are watching. And so, right now, it's great investment opportunity. Teams are making more money. They're getting their brand out there. It's just overall a win-win for both. So another innovative way sports esports have made the link together is through key partnerships. And so a great example of this would be the North American esports organization, the Evil Geniuses. They actually signed a partnership with the Wolves esports team. And so at first glance, many people may not think much of this. It's just two esports teams signing some deal. But actually, the Wolves are the esports division of the European Premier League club, the Wolverhampton Wanderers. And so this club is, a well-known soccer club and has many fans. And having esports cross over into this, it helps both teams reach their geographic outreach. More people see it. I mean, it's just a win-win. More room for sponsorships. Sponsorships will cross over. Overall, it's just a great opportunity for both teams, and it's great seeing how esports can make it into the European Premier League. So for my fifth way esports and sports have crossed over, I would like to talk about how many sport networks are now streaming esport tournaments. And so this one actually hits home to me because me and my roommates actually used to watch a lot of Twitch, which is a streaming service for many gamers. And so before this, the only place you could watch people game were Twitch and YouTube. And I mean, although that's nice, it is nice, going out to a bar or going out to a restaurant and seeing, your team that you've been following on. And we weren't really avid watchers of esports, but during the spring when there weren't many actual live sports on, we did sometimes indulge on the weekends and watch some things such as the Call of Duty League and stuff like that. And so it's very huge that media outlets such as Fox Sports and Esports Network have begun streaming esports. This makes the outreach a lot bigger, and the popularity is just skyrocketing more than ever. So, way specifically, the NHL has utilized esports was through a new multi-year partnership with an esports tournament. And so I thought this was really cool because usually when you think hockey, the last thing you're going to think is esports. And so many people, are just loyal hockey fans. They don't really care about all that. And so to see the NHL hire a broadcast operator like DreamHack, it was a cool experience. And so DreamHack is actually going to oversee all production and operation under the NHL gaming branch. And this is big because it helps fans of hockey and esports come together in a way never seen before. Crossing over these two big platforms, I really don't see anything to go wrong with that. And being able to access the new sponsors is the biggest asset. And so actually, NHL business operation vice president told SBJ specifically that these sponsorships were the big deal, or why they did this, and it helps bring revenue in and awareness. So one of the things that made gaming most popular in the first place was actually racing games. And so this is no surprise to me. The F1 drivers are using sports games to train for events. And so I think this is really cool because, usually before, I mean, games were realistic, but they weren't anywhere close to where they were now. And having F1 drivers having full racing setups that they can just click a button, set up in their house, and practice tracks that they're going to be on next week, getting turns down and everything, I think is super interesting. And I actually recently have watched this in a new series called F1 Drive to Survive, and you actually see the drivers do these simulators in their house. And so an example of this is McLaren driver Lando Norris. And so he's actually recently taken to Twitch and he streamed him racing his favorite tracks on games and just talking to fans. And this is huge because it helps fans stay engaged and it helps, the drivers learn the tracks, improve instinct. And so I just think it's really cool seeing drivers being able to connect the fans while bettering themselves off. So as many of us know, sports took a huge hit during the pandemic, and the online betting services were no exception. And so, adapting sport betting services to esports and normal sports was a huge step. And so, Win Daily is actually a major betting service, and they took a big hit, obviously, when the pandemic hit. And at first, I mean, they were losing a lot of money, and wasn't looking good. But, uh, head of company Jason Mezrai adapted Win Daily to esports and was able to make more cash than ever. And so online betting itself is almost considered an esport, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people stream their betting and just kind of make a game out of it, even though it really isn't. And so this is no surprise. This was coming, and so they made it so you can bet on, daily wagers to, Call of Duty matches, and I mean, just crazy stuff never seen before, and it's just really cool. So, out of all the articles I read, this was actually probably my favorite, and it just talks about how competitive esports are a gateway to fandom. And so, a prime example of this was the MLS. So, they're actually gearing up for their fourth year of competitive gaming with EA Sports. And so, this is big because people view the league different, and young fans especially start watching real soccer as a result. And so, many kids who just get into gaming or just play FIFA, they actually get an appreciation for the sport and see where these stats come from. And it's really big that these young people are able to get involved in the sport so young and create this fandom. And the also major turn on for people is this can be turned on instantly. It's very flexible. It's not something that you have to, specific time of day, just okay, boom. I mean, you can just turn on FIFA whenever you want and you can play your favorite teams and just get engaged. So I kind of touched on this earlier on how, esports are expanding traditional sports, but I just thought this story was really interesting and it just kind of gave way to how large this really is. And so Partigam Sports actually joins Game Square Advisory Board. And so this is big because, I mean, Partigam Sports represents more than 80 athletes and has talents including Conor McGregor, Chris Cyborg, Adesanya, Stephen Thompson, I mean, Josie Altidore. I mean, so many major athletes, fighters. It's really crazy that such a big sporting service that has hundreds of fans and hundreds of thousands of followings is buying into the esports community, and this will help sporting events and esports events reach new levels. All these famous athletes endorsing this and being sponsors behind this, people are obviously going to watch just out of interest, and it's just cool seeing these two worlds that were so different come together and just be able to work so well. So this is my resources page. I got all my sources from sportsbusinessjournal.com. They had a plethora of information, made it super simple. There's many articles relating to the exact topics of how esports and sports are crossing over, sponsorship deals, athletes. I mean, the whole nine. It was really interesting reading all this. I enjoyed this project, and I hope you guys learned something from it. Thank you. Have a good day.